There you go. Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, guys, hey, welcome. Kind of a mixed group here tonight. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of just interest and questions and I know that it's kind of a weird time because it's in between Christmas and the New Year's, but I figured I'd catch some families that are maybe not traveling or staying in town, but there's a lot of players that are playing.
I stole Crunch.
Catching up. His kids play at Brave Christian. They're down in San Diego for the Torrey Pines tournament. A lot of high school basketball going on right now. Um, and and yeah, we're really excited about the future with our program. And so we've got a lot of eighth grade families currently right now that are listening in, which is awesome. You guys can kind of have an idea about what's the next 2, 3 years going to look like. And then obviously we've got a lot of current high school players that have been in our program for the last year or two. That kind of gives you guys a vision of what the next year or two looks like. So, with that, we hope everyone had a great Christmas. Happy holidays to all of our Lake Show family. Can't believe 2026 is literally coming on Thursday. But that's another reason why I want to do this call is just because it's just an information call. We got some families that are in the program, some families are not. Some families want to learn about the program, all good. Basketball is it's a small community, as we all know, and we've got a lot of really valuable relationships on this call. Got a lot of great coaches, got a lot of great players, got a lot of great families, and so there's a lot that goes into this. So typically planning 6 months in advance is kind of how we like to do things, just because these AU trips get really expensive. And there's a lot of effort and energy that go into them, especially for some of our older classmen or juniors, they're looking to get, exposed into college. So with that, here's our little slideshow that we put together. Um, this is my family. You guys can have a little fun if you haven't watched a little Prolific Prep Overtime YouTube series. There's a little fun little thing down there if you guys want to click. We can also share the slides after the email, but that was when I had fun. I had a fun little high school team that I coached in Napa, California. It's actually, they relocated now, they're in Florida, but it's basically a basketball powerhouse. We had international, we had American, is all types of players from all over the world. My family's in the middle. JJ's 7 now. He's a second grader. He's on our 8U team. He's running around with his head cut off in our camps this week with all of his buddies. My wife, Kelly, she played volleyball at San Ramon Valley and then played in college at UC Riverside and then transferred to San Jose State. And then my daughter Collins is 5 now, and she wants nothing to do with basketball, so that's great. And then we took a little family trip down to LA to watch the Dodgers. I know we have a lot of Giants fans on the call, so I respect it. But we went down to LA and I actually worked for Eric Musselman at Nevada Reno, so we went down there. It was kind of cool. His son works for him now as an assistant coach at USC. And then my son, JJ, got a chance to kind of understand what's going on with college and NBA. So that was cool. A little bit about our alumni. We've got a couple graphics that we really, really, really take with pride. We have a lot of players that are playing all over the country, from Division I, Division II, Division III, NAI, junior college. We always tell families that it's a privilege to play in college, and we take really great pride in helping our players, both in the classroom and on the court, to try to find the right fit for potentially playing at the next level. We've had kids from all over that have played all over, and some of those players are actually now coming back to be coaches, which is really cool. Hopefully Taj is on the call. Taj, we've got a couple alumni that are going to coach for us this year, but they've come back to help, and it's one big family. So there's a couple of things for our alumni. These are a few of our 2026 commitments. Left corner was McKay Amundsen. His dad, Tony's the head coach at Clovis North. His son signed at Idaho State, which is awesome. Bottom left, Will Corbett plays at Bellarmine down in San Jose. Great player, signed a Division II full ride scholarship to Chico State. Middle is Drew Anderson, top 150 kid, played for us, and he signed at Oregon State. And then most near and dear to my heart is Aiden Lee, all the way on the right, just committed to MIT, which, as you know, or some of you may not know, MIT is one of the best schools in the country, elite academic school, very rigorous to get into. Aiden's been playing with us in sixth grade. I'm really, really excited about that one. There's a very rigorous process that we won't get into tonight, but it is something that families have started asking me about, that kind of high academic space, because there is a space for it and there's also a path for it. And so there's just four of our alumni this year that are seniors, but we've got a couple others. JT Harold, 6'7" from Palma High School. He's got three or four offers. And then Des Sycat's got a few offers. Point guard at Castro Valley. So we've got, every year we try to put out as many kids as we can. And by put out, I really mean just find a home for these guys. We don't really like sticking kids where they can't play. We want to find a home for them where they can actually get on the court and make an impact, or else they'll end up in the transfer portal, which is not a fun place to be unless you're transferring up. So there's a few of our alumni for you. So Jalen Green was the other program that had Adidas 3SSB. And for those people that are on the call, there's basically, in my opinion, there's about 4 or 5 circuits that are the most prestigious, if that's what you want to call it. Nike has EYBL, Adidas has 3SSB, Under Armour has UA, Puma's got a really good circuit now too, and then they've got New Balance and they've got everything else. And so for the last 4 years, a lot of you don't know, but I've been running Lake Show, and then I've also been running Jalen Green. Jalen Green played for me at Prolific Prep, as mentioned earlier. Developed a relationship with him. He had signed with Adidas when he was the number 2 draft pick in the NBA to the Houston Rockets. And he had signed a 4-year deal with them as his endorsements company. But this last year, he didn't renew with Adidas. So now he's a free agent, which then meant that Jalen Green, the program I've been running on Adidas 3SSB for the last 4 years, is kind of no more. And so that's why we moved the 3SSB now to Lake Show. But just to give you guys a little glimpse into it, we had AJ, who's on the Washington Wizards, and I got traded from the Bucks, but he's in the NBA. BJ Davis played for us. He's at San Diego State, having a great year this year. Aaron Clare's at Hawaii. Tallis is at Stanford. I just visited him a couple weeks ago. He looks great. But yeah, these are all guys we've had sign, and those are all Division I players in the last 2 or 3 years, which is we're really proud of that. So that was our Jalen Green. And then here's some of our coaches. I'll just go ahead and speak for Anthony Koo because I know he's not on the call. Really, really, really excited for Anthony Koo. He's a very, very good coach. He's the JV or freshman coach at Cal High. Freshman coach at Cal High, but I've been doing this so long. I've known Anthony since he was the varsity coach at Cal High. He's got a son now that's a freshman. He's going to coach a couple of our 15U teams. Brilliant basketball mind. Really excited for Anthony. He's been a really good coach the last 4 or 5 years. And so he's going to be coming over to us in the spring. Really excited to have Anthony. And then my brother in the middle, he's on a little anniversary dinner tonight. He's been a backbone for me, coached pretty much everything, youth, middle school, high school, you name it. And he trains with a lot of your guys' sons on the call. And then I think Steve Boyd's on the call. You want to introduce yourself and maybe give us a little snippet?
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm Coach Steve. I just want to, since Joey mentioned it earlier, I just want to show off my back-to-back champions Dodgers shirt there, so you guys know where my allegiances are. But yeah, I've been with Lake Show since 2010. I've coached all levels on the girls' side now, 12U with the girls, from seniors with the guys to, I don't know, 6th grade maybe. And just enjoy being with the program, great family oriented program. And I mean family, not just because of Joey and Christian, but the connection to a bunch of our former players, alumni that have come back to join the program, guys that I've coached, guys that I've watched play. And that's just the nature. That's one of the reasons why I've stayed around for so long. I mean, obviously the competition, getting the guys to college, like all those things are very exciting, but it's always felt like home. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here. and excited about 2026.
I love it. Steve's been one of our soldiers, man. He's been with us forever. And since day one, I was looking back at just pictures and I'm like, man, which picture do I put up here for Steve? There's so many. But a lot of families on this call know Steve. Fantastic coach. Honestly, I think he's probably the best coach on our staff for organizing hangouts and chemistry. We used to give you crap about going to Disneyland all the time, but honestly, it's kind of cool, like seeing the boys have these experiences off the court, which I think help shape the form on the court. A lot of times, these AAU teams are sometimes comprised of kids all over the, North Bay, East Bay, South Bay, and Steve's done a really good job over the last 12 to 15 years of he's had so many good families in our program. And like he mentioned, he's got a daughter now in high school, which is crazy. But he's also coaching girls too. So Steve's a great trainer as well. I think you'll be a trend here. You guys will see that a lot of our coaches are trainers too. So if you're looking for ball handling, shooting, footwork, Steve's a guy to reach out to for more reps in 2026. Love it. All right, is Jonathan Ned on the call? I don't know if Jay Ned's on there. But Jonathan joined our staff this last spring after getting done at the University of Western Washington. It was a Division II school. Had a decorated career, played at University of Georgia in the SEC, lives in Brentwood now. And he was great. He was a great addition. Jonathan coached one of our 16U teams last year. He was kind of rivaling Brett Blaisdell, and they ironically had a nice little run in the championship in Vegas, ironically against each other out of all the teams to play. They ended up playing against Brett, but no, I'm really excited to have Jonathan. He'll be a good addition. And I think Brett, are you on the call?
Yeah, here, Joey.
Yeah, give us a little intro and a little background about you.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you guys for joining the call. Yeah, like Joey said, literally that picture is actually the championship photo from me beating Ned's team in Vegas. So yeah, you're totally right, Joey. But yeah, no, this is my second year coaching with the Lake Show. I'm coaching a 14U middle school team right now. Last year I did a 13U team and a 16U team. And actually, a couple of my 13U parents from last year, I see them on the call. So thank you guys for the Christmas gifts. I really appreciate it. I would just say before I came to Lake Show, I was coaching at Informational in Alameda for many years. I did freshman, JV, and varsity. And yeah, I've just really enjoyed my experience coaching for Lake Show. Coaching with Joey and the other Lake Show staff has been a really great experience. So yeah, I would just say that no matter what team or coach your kid plays for, they're in good hands.
That's awesome. And Brett is also a teacher. Remind me of the high school again, Brett?
I'm at Peninsula High School in San Mateo County.
In San Mateo, yeah. So Brett does a lot of commuting, but a great teacher. Another thing, like our coaches are all. Steve is a former teacher as well, for many, many years. So I think when it gets down to the nuts and bolts, like we're kind of basketball centric. Like we just want these kids around coaches that are dedicated to helping young men. So is Savon on the call? I don't know if I saw Savon. Let's see, Savon. I don't see his name on here. Anyways, I'll speak for him. Savon is a great coach for us. Savon coaches our 8th grade currently. Savon last year coached a 8th grade team as well. Was kind of one of those guys that was just in the gym training with Mike Pickney, and he kind of was just like looking to train and coach, and I started asking around about him, and sure enough, he got raving reviews. And so Savon, he's been awesome for us. He's running a camp this week at OGP. He also is the assistant varsity coach at Miramani, and he's doing a great job. Last year, he coached our 16U Adidas Gold team, and this year he'll coach another either 15U or 16U. But that's a picture with his 8th grade last year. A lot of really good families on that team, and excited to have Savon again this year. Don't know if Diamond's on this call. Really excited about Diamond. Diamond Simpson, for those of you who don't know him, you should probably look him up. Had a decorated career overseas. Played in the NBA for a little bit, but I think he's actually all-time shot blocker in St. Mary's history. And he lives in Hayward now. He's a great dude. He's coming over. He's going to help coach us in the spring. And then is Taj Phillips on the call? I think Taj, you're on here.
What's up, Joe? Yeah, I'm on it.
Yeah, why don't you turn your video on so they can see you? And why don't you introduce yourself and give them a little background?
Let me see.
Or you don't have to. Yeah, that's good.
Sorry about a game right now, but what's up, everybody? I'm Taj. Nice to meet you all. Yeah, I've been coaching with Lakeshore over the past month. Been able to do some youth camps last week and this week. It's been a really good experience. Full circle moment. I played Lakeshore in high school, 15s and 16s. So really excited to get started, but really good program for sure.
I love it. And Taj actually helped create some of this PowerPoint. So thank you for that. I found this picture of you shooting like a fadeaway because I remember you shooting the shot. You always used to lean in and step back, but Taj is a great addition. He just finished Division three career at Puget Sound, a very good school in the Northwest. And he's in town now. He lives in Pleasanton, and he's looking to help out. So we're excited to have him jump in. He's also coaching at Charlotte this week with me at camp. All right, who else we got? Is Jordan Hickman on the call? I don't know if Jordan Hickman's on here. I don't know if Jordan's on here. And I know Ryan, you're on here, right? Ryan must be in
No, can you hear me? There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Coach Ryan. I've got two boys in the program. I met Joey in the youth, and my kids have been coached by a lot of the other wonderful coaches like Boyd and Christian, and Nate, you've been around them as well, and so I've been very grateful to be part of the family. I got to say, and I'm not being biased. The reason why we're here is because it's the number one program in the Bay Area. I've seen families start out as young as middle school through high school now, and I've seen families come, and I've seen families want to come back. Right, want to come back because Joey and Lake Show, you guys just do it right, and just grateful to be a part. I know there's one picture that's not on here. I'm hearing about Blaisdell beating Boyd and all the other coaches, but we don't see any celebration pictures of Boyd in Vegas winning championship. that needs to be on there too. So I know Steve won't speak for himself, so I'll speak for him. So, but yeah, we got to find some of those too, Joey.
That's awesome. Well, hey, listen, I did find the precarious pose from Ryan, so we did get that one in there. And then, hey, Jeff Ball, I feel completely awful right now. I didn't even put a picture on here, but why don't you introduce yourself and tell them what you do for the program?
Yeah, no problem. Hey, I'm Jeff. I do a lot of the back end stuff for Lake Show for the entire program. So when you guys are registering for your teams, when you're registering for camps or whatever else, I'll probably be the one emailing you. If you have any questions regarding payment issues or anything else, scheduling, all that kind of stuff, feel free to reach out to me. I help Joey with a lot of the operations side. So whether that's in the gym or, on the website, all of that stuff is me. So if you ever see me in the gym and you have any questions, feel free to reach out and then we'll just take it from there.
Love it. All right, what else we got? I think let's get into some of the nuts and bolts here. Okay, so a couple things. So spring, summer tryouts, they're combined. So we do a tryout at the end of February, early March. Because keep in mind, if your son is currently a freshman or he's a sophomore on freshman or JV, their seasons traditionally end in the first week of really February. Maybe second week of February. So what we do, is we always do our tryouts post President's Weekend. However, we lead up to tryouts with some of our Sunday skills workouts that we've been doing for the last, 10 weeks. I've been running them. My brother has been running them. Those have been picking up steam. Now, I understand there's a lot of kids that their only off day is Sunday, so I get it, like chores, church, homework, all the stuff they need to get done. We specifically put it Sunday night so they can kind of get some of their stuff done in the earlier part of the day. These things are going to continue to pick up, and we may end up adding some workouts at OGP and potentially Brave in Dublin, because I think that, families are coming from all over. And so we're going to start incorporating that. I know that there's been some people that have said, hey, we can't make Sunday night or whatever. It's all good. We'll figure out other ways to get you guys, work out. And those are just great ways to come and work out and build a dialogue with some of the coaches. And it's a great eval against some of the players that may or may not be in our program. You don't have to be Lake Show to do that. You can come work out. There's a drop-in fee, or you can just buy a group of 5 workouts. I made it a little cheaper. That way people can, make it a little bit more accommodating for you guys. And then the tryouts. So the tryouts, let me be very clear about this. So 15U, all tryouts, all levels, 3 SSB, gold teams, everything. So that'll be all levels. Now, 16s and 17s with 3 SSB specifically get a little bit more handpicked. So I'm in the process right now of recruiting an entire 16s team, not entire, because we had a really good 15s team last year that's mostly all coming back. But I just want to be super upfront with everybody. Like the 16s, 3 SSB, and the 17s are all handpicked. Although we do tryouts for those teams as well. It's just the odds of making those teams are very hard. It's just because the numbers are stacked up against some of our players. However, we have teams below 3 SSB. So you've got your 15U, your 16U, and your 17U. And then below each one of those 3 SSB teams, you have Adidas Gold teams and you have Adidas independent teams. And we'll get into that in a second. Click to the next one, but just a thought that popped into my head. If your son's still in playoffs during that time and you can't make a tryout, no worries. We'll always have an additional tryout so your player, can make a tryout. We're not going to just cut your son. We're never going to do that. We'll always try to find an evaluation for your son to be a part of. And if you can make both tryouts, great. I may shift things a little bit. I mean, those are kind of our set dates right now. And it's crazy to think that February is only a month away, starting on Thursday. But that's why another reason I want to do this call is because I want to prepare a lot of our families for, hey, our season ends in second week of February. What are we going to do? So register for tryouts. If you're interested in trying out for our program, that's any level, any level. If you're a freshman, you're 15U. If you're a sophomore, you try out for 16U. And if you're a 17U, that means you're a junior or seniors. There's a lot of seniors that are playing AAU right now as what you call an unsigned senior. Jeff, we're going to want to make sure to put that on our website and in registration, the different qualifications. Like when they register, it should say 15U and then put in parentheses freshman. And then 16U should be parentheses sophomore, just so families don't get confused with that. The good thing is one of our tryouts will be at OGP. We have all 4 courts, so it'll be pretty obvious. Like you walk in, you signed up for tryouts. Jeff will help you get signed in, and then each court will be matched with your son's age group. So the first court may be court 15U, court 2, 16U, and then obviously 3 and 4 may just be for overflow, 17U, and unsigned seniors. And again, I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys, so we're going to record this call. All the slides are in a deck. We'll share that with you as well. So don't feel like you got to keep up with my speed here. I've just had a lot of things on my mind in the last 2 weeks. This is our 3 SSB schedule. This is the schedule specifically for just our 3 SSB team. So our 15U, our 16U, and our 17U 3 SSB are required to play in these tournaments. So April 24th through 26th, Orange County, May 15th through the 17th, which is the only live period in the spring. We'll talk about that in a little bit, excuse me. And then July 8th and 12th is in Bryan, Texas. And then July 16th through the 19th is Rock Hill. So those 4 tournaments right there are mandatory for the 15U, 16U, and 17U 3 SSB. Just a quick little tagline on 3 SSB. It's the best players in the country from all over. I mean, you have teams from California, you've got teams from Canada, you got teams from Texas, you got teams from New York. I mean, and it's flooded with college coaches. I mean, it's the reason why I think a lot of families are excited about us getting this is because we've never had a sponsorship, like a real sponsorship. We've always been kind of dabble with Nike or Adidas or whatever, but we're really excited about this because this is, especially with the transfer portal right now, this is the best that it'll get for your kid to not to have an opportunity to play in college. And by the way, 3SSB has its own priority of coaches, but so does Adidas Gold. So let's flip to that next page. So Adidas Gold is, and these slides are a little, I want to zoom in a little bit, but Adidas 3SSB has their dates, and then Adidas Gold has their dates. Adidas Gold is a little bit different than Adidas 3SSB in the way that the schedule is formatted, and then also where the tournaments are, obviously. Now, with that being said, we have Adidas Gold teams per age group. So you've got a Lakeshore Adidas Gold in 15, Lakeshore Adidas Gold in 16, Lakeshore Adidas Gold in 17, and I think they're going to give me 2 Adidas Gold teams per age level, which is awesome because that gives obviously more of our kids an opportunity. But the Adidas Gold is an awesome circuit because if you win some of these qualifiers, you actually get to play with the 3SSP teams in Rock Hill, South Carolina, July 16th through the 19th. So it's a really cool opportunity and it's going to be competitive. I mean, like I said, we've shown you slides of our alumni. Well, we didn't have any Adidas 3SSB or Nike. We had none of that. It only based on relationships. So my job is to help your son get the exposure. And then number 2 is to help bridge relationships with those coaches. And obviously that's for our older kids, our juniors and seniors. However, we had a 15U kid last year that got his first Division I offer as a freshman. So recruitment is all over the pendulum. Now we have a lot of families on the call that, their kids are a freshman on freshman, a sophomore on JV. That's okay. It's important for you guys to hear this because it's a business. And all these colleges go to these tournaments and they recruit players from the legible programs like Lake Show, like these other programs that have been doing it for a lot longer. And that's my only sell to you is that we've just been doing this for 20 years. And so, even for me, I played freshman at San Ramon Valley. I played varsity as a sophomore, but I never played. And then I played my last 2 years on varsity as a junior and senior. And I was fortunate enough to play at a small NAI school in LA, but everybody's path is different. It's not easy nowadays to play in college, let alone play in high school at a good high school. So these are just different avenues for all of our boys. Okay, so this is the spring and summer schedule. Don't freak out. I know there's a lot of bullet points. There's a lot going on in this slide. I did it earlier, but it's a really good idea of what this is going to look like in the spring and summer. We don't mess around. Like we play in as many events as possible that are the most strategic. We don't play in tournaments that suck. We play in all the best events, and especially now that we have 3SSB, we'll play against anyone at any place at any time. And so this is kind of our schedule. We have a little bit of mixture between training camp, like you see on April 4th and 5th, Easter Sunday. We never do anything, so just scratch that off. But we will do something on that Saturday. So we may do like a little training camp with some of our 3SSB teams, and then some of our gold teams will get to play against the 3SSB. It's really cool. We've done this the last few years. And these do a little training camp. They round robin. We scrimmage against each other. We all work out together. We're all one big family and one gym. That'll probably be at Las Positas and Livermore, like a bigger gym, or Brave in Dublin. And then you just make your way down. I don't need to go through all of them just because we have a lot of different families on the call. But our huge tournament is April 11th and 12th. I think Sam Bono, you might be on the call. I saw your text earlier. Sorry for not responding. That's the weekend we have like 300 teams. We've got everyone from Nike to Under Armour. It's a really cool event, and all of our teams are in that. And then it kind of breaks down simultaneously on what team you're on. Three Stripes Gold, you can see you stay local, April 18th, 19th, Oakland. That's easy. The weekend after that, 3SSBs in Orange County. But there's also a tournament here locally. I just haven't decided yet whether our teams in our Adidas Gold teams will stay here in Oakland. The following weekend, City Championship. That's like a cool event. SF City College. It's kind of cool to go over there. Mother's Day weekend, we're probably going to do something just Saturday. I want to respect our moms. If we do something Sunday, it might just be in the morning. But we may do a little surprise for the moms on that Mother's Day Sunday. And we kind of have to play that weekend because the next weekend is what's called a live period. Live period for all the families on this call mean that college coaches can come and evaluate. And there's only one of those in the spring, which is May 15th through the 18th. It's a Thursday to Sunday. Indiana's where 3SSB is, and Orange County is where Three Stripes Gold is. Um, major weekend. All of our teams are playing that weekend, so it's not like, what you'll notice about our schedule is like we don't like just because you're not on a 3SSB team or you're not on a gold team, like everybody plays. Like we don't do that where we have, just because you're on this team, there are different tournaments that team has to play in. But this is the schedule, and we play in typically about 5 or 6 tournaments in the spring. We may add something in March. I don't know. March is kind of a tricky month because the teams that go all the way to CIF state, they'll go all the way through the middle of March. But April 4th and 5th is kind of the start point, and we'll play for sure 2 or 3 times in April, for sure 2 or 3 times in May, and then in June. What you guys will notice here, if you're an 8th grade family on this call, the month of June is very heavy for high school basketball. Your high school you're going to. So a lot of the families are on the call. Your kids are in high school right now. Well, you guys kind of understand it. Your kids are in high school, and this last summer, you got maybe a rude awakening for a lot of them. It's like, oh yeah, we're playing every single day. You got maybe camp in the morning for 2 hours, and then you go play in a summer league game that night. Some of them played in Cali Live. Some played in Section 7 in Arizona. So we don't do anything in June. I mean, we do some workouts here and there. But June is for the month to go back to your high schools and do your thing. And then in July, it's really 2 or 3 tournaments. I mean, it's a lot of travel. And July 4th, lands on a Saturday this year, which is not ideal. But we will do a training camp that weekend because we play the following weekend in 3SSB, Bryan, Texas, and then Three Stripes Gold is in Anaheim. So I know that was a lot. Don't worry about getting all that stuff down, but it's a lot of dates, but it's our season. So I want to get this info to you guys ASAP. You can hit the next one, Jeff. Okay, so obviously, a lot of things going on here, but we have 2 facilities that we're going to use. We've got OGP in Oakland, which is 4 courts. A lot of you guys have been there. That's a picture of all of our youth teams. I think this was last year. But we've got a flowing program right now. Very, very lucky, very fortunate, very blessed to have a lot of good families in our program. We have a lot of good coaches, like I mentioned earlier. We've got boys and girls now. The girls are dedicated on Mondays and Wednesdays at OGP. The boys are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. However, we may move the high school on Wednesday night. I kind of like something in the middle of the week. But we're also going to use Brave Christian. Brave Christian is the old Valley Christian High School, rebranded. My dad's the varsity coach there. It's beautiful campus. It's right up on the hill on Dublin. It's got a little 2-court facility, not really 2 courts. It's 2 side courts, but there's 6 hoops, 1 main court going the main way. But there's 6 hoops in there. So we'll use Brave Christian. We use OGP Oakland. We'll use Las Positas a little bit. But between both those facilities is where we'll practice at the most. Click the next slide. Okay, that brings us into lodging. Again, a lot of info here. Don't worry about this right now, but it is something to keep on your radar. Both the 3SSB and Three Stripes Gold use a search engine called Site Search for all their hotels. In the past, we've always just called the hotel and said, hey, we're going to bring 40 rooms. This is a little bit easier because Site Search, they've already done something that has multiple links of where the venues are. Now, if your families are Marriott or Hilton or Holiday Inn, whatever, like if you guys have points, use your points. You don't have to use these. This is just an idea of where families could potentially stay for a cheap rate. And so the way that travel works, we'll kind of get to that in here in a little bit, is that 3SSB has their own site search for their hotels on those specific dates. And then Three Stripes Gold has their own site search for their own specific dates. Flights, we'll share that flight info for you guys, for all the coaches. Part of the fees, which we'll get to here in a little bit, is our coaches to travel. It's not cheap, especially in the spring and summer. Even planning right now, you got flights you saw some of the locations. I mean, Bryan, Texas, you can fly to Dallas and drive. You can fly to Austin and drive. You can fly to Houston and drive. But there's a lot of things going on. You got tournaments in Orange County, which that venue at OGP Ladera, in my opinion, is the best. But it's a little bit further south, so you may not want to stay somewhere in Anaheim. But all that the site search will actually bring up hotels that are closest to the venue. So that's pretty cool if when that time comes up. Go ahead to the next one. Our social media is heavily used. Right now, I'm actually doing it with Jeff. We're kind of tag teaming it until I find a graphic designer and a social media manager. If anyone on the call has any expertise or wants to pass on a little referral, that would be greatly appreciated. I need someone that can actually help ramp our social media to the next level. However, I know how to do it, and I'm not great at it, but I try to do my best. But we do Instagram, we do Twitter, and we do Facebook. And the Instagram is really big. I'd say for commitment graphics, stuff like that. But Twitter is really big for college recruitment. I tell all of our kids in high school, put your Twitter or download a Twitter, depending on how your parents feel about that. But it's huge for college recruitment. All of our players that put their little bio, where they go to high school, what their GPA is, maybe a little attachment to their highlights. It's huge. College coaches are rampant on Twitter. It's a lot easier to kind of direct message coaches on Twitter versus Instagram. But the only thing I'll say about social media is we have a very professional conversation with all of our players. It's a business. So we can't be putting stuff on social media that doesn't look the right. We have to have it zeroed in on what the task is in hand. Now, obviously, we've got 15, 16-year-old, 17 kids. They're going to be kids, but we just want to make sure that they're professional in the way they look. They're professional in the way that they, act in community. We try to do shout outs. You know what I mean? We try to do birthday shout outs, GPA shout outs. I want to start incorporating player of the month shout outs, maybe player of the tournament. I know that G365 does that based on stats, but I actually like doing stuff that incentivizes players based on stuff that doesn't show up in the stat sheet, loose balls, or maybe it's just somebody that lends a helping hand to a teammate or something. There's always ways to kind of stick out. And honestly, those little ways are what I go to college coaches to bat with. I call college coaches on a daily basis. They call me on a daily basis. They reach out to our staff on a daily basis. And it's such a good carrot to have to sell to some of these college coaches that your son is this type of leader. He's this type of, person in the community. We love that. So anything you guys have to share with us, that's greatly appreciated. And actually, one thing on the last one, you can keep it on this slide, Jeff. We are going to do a media day for our high school teams. We haven't done it in the past, but I actually think it'd be really cool. We're going to do a media day for our high school, and that means everyone. I don't care if you're on 3SSB, Adidas Gold, Independent. Like, we will have a media day for all of our high school kids. It's great to have professional headshots because honestly, you can use it for anything, for stats, for posting guys highlight film. So that's a good thing to have. Excuse me. Okay, player package. So this is what's included in there. Now that we're Adidas, we're head to toe. So that means jerseys, that means backpacks, that means shoes, that means nothing can be Nike, nothing can be Under Armour, nothing can be Puma, if that's the thing. I know there are some Puma basketball shoes now. But everything has to be Adidas. And so we will provide that. I mean, obviously there's fees associated with that. But that's what's included in the player package. The other things that are kind of considered not in the package, but they're a part of the tuition is you get tournament fees. So again, 5 to 6 tournaments in the spring, 3 to 4 in the summer. We're going to do practice uniforms as well. Those don't have to be, those do not have to be Adidas. They'll just be a standard one. And then the coach's salary is included in that. Coach's license. I forgot to put license on there. All of our coaches have to be licensed. So that includes all that. Includes the travel, the gear, I actually did put in that. And then what it also includes is 2 to 3 practices a week. It'll definitely be 2 team practices. And it may have a skill session on top of that. I'm working on that as we speak. That'll be something that will be periodic throughout the season. But that kind of gives you guys a ballpark of what that looks like. I'm not really going to go into numbers right now. Last year, I can't remember what we charged, but we always take into consideration everyone's situation. However, we pay our coaches handsomely because they do a really good job. We also practice in one of the nicest practice venues in the entire Bay Area at Open Gym Premier. Brave Christian in Dublin's a nice campus as well. So we just don't cut corners. We're also a 501c3 nonprofit. So I think you go to the next slide, Jeff. This is like a little donation. I've gotten multiple donations in the last couple years. This is not one of those type of calls that kind of to push you guys on that. It's totally open. Like we're about these kids. We have a mission to help all these kids. Sometimes families can't afford to do all this stuff. There's a lot of travel. There's a lot of money that, uniform. Like we want our players to look the best. That we want them to play in the best. We want them to feel the best. And so, part of that is obviously coming up with the funds to do that. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. So if your companies or anything have like a little matching thing, we do that all day long. Helps afford fees for players who can't afford it. And yeah, we try to do our best in that area. So let's go to the next slide. There might be one more. Is there one more, Jeff? I think that might be it.
Yeah, I think that might be it.
Okay. You could take off the screen show and just put it on me real quick. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of it for our slides. I know that was a lot of information to throw at you. I'll take a couple questions, but I just want to be very transparent about how this process works. We're going to have a ton of kids try out for Lake Show. We evaluate everyone. Like I literally, and Jeff can attest to this, we will have all of your players listed off a spreadsheet. When you come in the door, we will check off your name. Now, a lot of the players we know because you've been in our program, but there's a lot of things that can change. We will evaluate every single player in 90 minutes. Now, how good we are, we're not that great, so that's why we want you to come to multiple tryouts. We're probably just going to ask players to go to 2 tryouts. I know that question is going to come up. The way I answer it too is like the more we see you, obviously, the more opportunity you have at making whatever team that you think would be the best for your son. We're pretty good when it comes to like matching players on where they belong. Now, there's been times in the past we've made mistakes, but we always try to correct those mistakes. We have a healthy balance of playing time. We have about 8 to 9 on every team. Sometimes it's 10 because sometimes you travel tournaments, you go and there's an injury or sickness or whatever. Now you're down to 8. 8's kind of the sweet spot. 9, I think, is great. 10 is, there's a demand. But we all players play. We're not asking players to pay to sign up for something they're not going to play in. What else? Yeah, I mean, we will follow up with families very fast. Jeff knows that. I will be texting families. I will be emailing families. Hey, this is where we think your son belongs. This is where we're going to offer you a spot. When you guys go through tryouts, basically after tryouts is kind of where we'll have different buckets on where players can be. Now things can kind of shuffle a little bit around playoffs because there may be 2 or 3 players that are at, De La Salle or they're at, Salesian or wherever, and they make playoffs. And so that pushes everything back a little bit. Well, we always kind of anticipate that. So things will be a little bit in flux. I'd say more at the 15U level. The 16U and 17U, those are a little bit more. We'll have a better idea on those just because players have been in our program a little bit longer. But we will give you feedback, and I'm totally open for that. I know that week is going to be craziness in my household, but that's okay. This is my job, and we love evaluating players. We love being honest with families about what they need to work on. But there is a sweet spot. I think if your son's a freshman right now, and he's on freshman, and he's like, a starter, then I'd say that he's going to compete for one of our Adidas Gold teams. And so, again, to piggyback on what I said earlier, you got 3 SSB at the top. Adidas Gold is right underneath that. And then you've got independent teams. It just depends on demand. I know that question is going to come up. How many teams per grade? My guess is we'll probably have 3. Last year, I think we had 3 or 4 per, depending on what level it was. This year, I'm anticipating the same, if not more. However, we don't want to dilute our product. We still think that players should earn their spot. This isn't just like everybody makes it. That's not this type of program. However, we want to take care of families that have been in our past. You guys have been loyal to us. We'll be loyal to you guys in return. And the other thing I'll say before I'll take questions, because I try to make this under an hour, is we try to find the balance between competition and playing time, because a lot of families on this call, if your son's a freshman or a sophomore, they didn't really play a lot this year at high school, you need to be on a team where you're playing a lot, because it doesn't make sense to be on some 3 SSB or Adidas. Like, I get all that. Like, I get, the 15, 6-year-old mind is going to, well, I have to be on. It's like, well, yeah, we all want to be on that team. I would have wanted to be on that team earlier in life too, but the reality is I might not have been good enough to be on that as a freshman. So yeah, I think that's kind of a glimpse into what this world's going to look like. I know that a lot of the incoming freshmen, so if you're an eighth grade family right now, I know a lot of families are like, hey, like, can we have a vision into what high school? Yeah, this is why you guys are on the call. Totally welcome to listen to this. It's great for us because now we have middle school teams, which is a funnel right into our high school. Our program used to be high school centric since 2005. We never had sixth graders, seventh graders, eighth graders until about 6, 7 years ago. And so now we have a middle school division. And so that middle school division starts in middle school and then obviously makes its way through high school. And we're very fortunate to have a lot of really good families. It looks like we've got like 35 people on this call. There's a lot of people that couldn't be on this call. My guess is, like I said earlier, we'll probably have, I don't know, 100 plus families that are trying out in the spring. But again, we try to do our best to plan ahead. We're not perfect at it, but we try to get as much info to you guys as possible. That way you guys can plan your lives strategically, multiple kids, multiple sports, because I know this will come up. Still doing good on time. Multiple sports athlete. We love them. Okay. However, you got to be good at your son's a baseball player in the spring. We got to be good at looking at the schedules and trying to figure out if it's going to work or not. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. So I think what else is, tracks in the spring. Those two sports we can work with. So don't cancel yourself out. If you want to come try out, get an evaluation, and then go from there. So that was a lot to throw at you in 52 minutes. Really appreciate all of you guys. Wishing you guys a great 2026. I'll leave time for, I guess, for some questions. No question's a bad question. If you're an eighth grade family that wants to know a little bit more about the recruitment process, probably not a question for tonight, but I will definitely, I'm actually in the midst of creating another side business on placing kids in college. It's been part of my job for the last 15 years, is helping kids bridge the gap to finding a university that they can play at. But that's actually a service. There's a lot of services out there that, quite frankly, I think are way too overpriced. And when it comes down to it, it's all about relationships anyways. So if you're paying a premium to be in our program, then what better way to just get it from the director? That's normally my job. However, it's, as we add more players, it gets to be a lot on my plate. So I'm working on creating a own recruitment and college placement service. But for now, you guys get me. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions. Jeff, do you want to maybe read off any in the question block? I can.
Yeah, I don't see any out here yet, unless they personally messaged you.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? I mean, I know we got to probably have something, right? Let's see. Anybody else have a question? All right, man, I must have knocked it out. So what are we at the end of December? Yeah, so look for me. I'm very email centric. So if you guys are not on my distro list, please send Jeff a note or just put it in the little search engine right there to make sure that we get it. And then yeah, we'll kind of go from there. We got any questions, Jeff?
Yeah, somebody's asking how many more Sunday training camps we have. So basically, we have a couple more running until the end of January. I think this last Sunday might be the last one, and then we have another one starting up in the spring again on January 11th, and that will run for 10 weeks through early or mid-March, I believe.
Yeah.
Henry Palmer asked, for eighth grade 14U, this process is what we'll be seeing starting in the fall.
For eighth grade, this process would be okay, yeah, that's a good question. So the fall is actually for we do like a fall league, Henry. It's all incoming freshmen would play on like a fall team, but this is kind of a different beast. This is like when Eris gets done with his freshman year after wherever he goes to high school. This is post freshman year. We do a fall team though in the fall. It's just a 6 to 8 week league. It's this last year I think we had like two teams. I think a lot of high schools are starting to reel these kids in earlier, which is totally fine. We don't compete. We don't compete with high schools. We work with them. So that's the answer to that. And then the 17U team already together for 3SSB. The answer to that is no. I don't even have a head coach right now, to be honest with you. However, we did have a 16s last year that's all 17s this year. So we have about 4 or 5 kids that are kind of already committed, but we'll have another 4 or 5 kids that we need to recruit. And typically for the 17U, you have to be like an all league. You got to be maybe someone that has a couple of college off. Like you got to be in that conversation. And that's no shade. I don't know who asked that question, but it don't normally those spots for 17U are very elite, and it's just very competitive. I mean, everybody's kind of fighting over 8 or 9 spots. What else, Jeff?
Somebody asked if we're bringing back Jalen Green kids from the 16s last year.
Great question. The answer is yes. Yeah, good question. Yeah, so our Jalen Green 15s were very good. Some of those kids are going to be playing on our 16s, and then some of our Jalen Green 16s are going to be playing on our Lake Show 17s. Yep, great question. What else? Is that it?
Yep, looks like it for now.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, again, thank you guys so much. Have a great holiday. I can't believe 2026 is here. Be safe, have fun. Let's bring in the new year. Great. This Sunday night, we've got a workout at the Arc. For any of you guys are more welcome to jump in that. Otherwise, we'll catch you guys in 2026. See you guys.